The Gem State is changing every day, and as it does, the Idaho Matters podcast will help you know more about the changing communities and governments and cultures of Idaho. Listen to Idaho Matters today at boisestatepublicradio.org or in your favorite podcast app.
From Boise State Public Radio News, this is The Connector. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. How much do you think members of the Idaho Legislature should take home in a salary? Well, we've got a story on that. Plus, we have an election update, and we'll remind you that there's a pretty big football game on tonight. It is Friday. Yes, you've made it to Friday, the 25th of October, and here are today's stories. Idaho state lawmakers could see a significant pay raise come next month. That under a proposal that was floated at the State House yesterday. But as James Dawson reports, some citizens in charge of the process think that plan could be too generous.
Right now, most state lawmakers earn roughly $20,000 a year from the job. The proposal floated by legislative leaders would bump their pay to about $38,000 and tie salaries to a percentage of the average household income in Idaho each year. House Speaker Mike Moyle says current salaries limit who can realistically serve in the legislature.
We've created a situation in Idaho where those younger folks that we have today, they're not going to be with us long because they can't afford what it costs to be in this building.
Joanne Stringfield, a retired HR executive at Micron who serves on the Legislative Compensation Committee, doesn't disagree, but she says the pay bump should instead be tied to the average Idaho salary, not household income.
An average household income in almost all cases includes the salary of two people in a household, whereas we're talking about compensating one person. So I feel like that maybe isn't the right benchmark for us.
The committee deadlocked on the proposal and will meet again on November 6th. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
Ada County voters eager to cast their ballots this election season are doing so at a handful of early in-person voting locations throughout the county, including some city halls and public libraries and the county's mobile voting unit. Julie Lucatop checked it out.
The traveling voting booth is set up in high-traffic areas and prints ballots on demand. Residents can both register and vote there the same way they would on Election Day. On Thursday, the mobile unit was set up at the Boise State University campus. Standing in line, 18-year-old political science student London Reckmeyer is about to cast her vote for the very first time.
I've been wanting to vote since I was little. I've gone to every time my parents went and voted, I'd follow them, and it's been something I've been really excited to do since I turned 18.
She comes out of the voting booth a few minutes later.
Sent my picture to my mom of my I voted stickers, so going to my whole family right now, so we're all very excited.
Reckmeyer says she feels both relieved and anxious, but mostly happy. Similarly, College of Engineering staff Morgan Zabriskie voted early on campus because it was convenient.
I think I feel like some urgency about voting this time, maybe more so than in past elections. And I don't think there probably would have been any issue with me going like the day of, but I think it gives me a little mental, it's a burden off of my mind.
Julie Duqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
By the way, Ada County election officials tell us by far the demographic casting the most early in-person votes is aged 60 to 74. And indeed, there's a new poll out today that indicates those 50 and older are extremely motivated to cast their ballot. And Yvette Fernandez has that story.
AARP says pocketbook issues are the number one concern regardless of political party. In its most recent poll, more than 80% of voters between the ages of 50 and 64 who are still working are extremely concerned about Social Security, which will become their primary source of income. Pollster Bob Ward says 69% say their second concern is the cost of housing.
It's right up there with family caregiving. It's ahead of the cost of prescription drugs. And so the cost of housing is a big issue.
The study also showed 16% of older voters in battleground states are split voters who will vote based on issues, not political parties. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Yvette Fernandez.
In sports, Boise State, the number 17 team in the nation, is on the road tonight. They've got a rare Friday primetime game in Las Vegas where they will take on their Mountain West rival UNLV. And it's a pretty sure bet that tonight's game will have a big say in how the postseason conference playoffs will play out. Right now, Boise State is 5-1. UNLV is 6-1. Kickoff is 8:30 tonight, and the game will be televised on the CBS Sports Network. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Monday. And if you've enjoyed the podcast, we'd love it if you could rate or review it wherever you're listening right now, and will help more people hear the show. If you're feeling generous, spread the word in your circle or share The Connector with a friend that you might think would like it. Have a great weekend, and thanks for listening.
If you like podcasts like this, explore more from the Boise State Public Radio podcast family. There you'll find a mix of daily news, Idaho Voices, and in-depth series on a wide range of topics. I'm talking wild horses, political scandals, sustainable ranching, and militia groups in a post-January 6th world. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search Boise State Public Radio to find what Idaho's NPR station has in store for you.